Hello guys, this is Jack, Lupe, and Frank from Team Empire. They're joining me on a new kind of series we're doing, which is set discussions, where we take a nation in a set coming out for English, and we just talk about them, kind of joke around, but also try to seriously evaluate some of these cards. The first one we're doing is for set 8, Minerva Rising, and we're doing Brandt Gate for this week. So, hello Lupe, hello Frank, thanks for joining me today.
Always glad to be here. I mean, Brandt's my home, so anytime I can talk about it, very excited.
We do have the best over trigger.
Yeah, that is true. These are two Brandt homies. So, we're gonna talk about the first thing is like there's 8 generic support cards. Although I say generic with 8 air quotes because they're mostly like for research, which I would say is EVA. But since they both use research cards, it's not really. It's kind of like support for both. It's kind of generic. Then there's 8 direct support cards for Arkhite, the new ride line, which we'll talk about. We'll talk about that last, and then we'll talk about Eva second, because there's 3 direct support cards for her. Without further ado, let's get going. The first card we have is a common. We're gonna go through the generic cards first, and that is Itinerant Automaton. It's a grade 1 that says when it boosts, if your order zone is 3 or more set orders with different card names, this unit gets plus 5k power until end of battle. This card's pretty trash.
Yeah, the only thing I can say about this card is in set 7 we didn't get our plus 5k booster, so we finally got it, and he's a golem, and every nation that got a golem this set, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think the card's very okay because you have to play the grade 3 order for Ava in order for it to even proc.
Yeah, it's like about what you said, Lupe, where it's like, oh, you finally got your 13k booster. That is true, but the other ones are way better since they just need the opponent to be on grade 3, and they don't have to boost. They can either be a booster or attacker. So it's just not a very versatile card, in my opinion.
That is true. I forgot about that. Yeah.
In fact, we even got a card in like set 9 that was revealed that like has like if you have 2 or more cards in your set order zone, it gets like plus 5k power, so it's already better than this thing. So kind of trash, kind of mid. Then we have another card which is very similar, which is High Flight Conversion. Zerval Kez? I don't know, maybe.
Close enough.
Yeah, close enough. When this unit attacks, if your order zone is 3 or more set orders with different card names, costs Soul Blast 1, and this unit gets plus 10k power until end of that battle. A lot of people are comparing this to like a budget Combine Rusher.
Yeah, this guy, and then another card which we'll get to later. He's a generic double rare for the nation. They're pretty much budget combines, but out of the two, the double rare is much better than this guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the fact that you have to Soul Blast for a mediocre power boost is very bad. On top of the fact that you have to have 3 different orders.
I was literally about to say that, Frank. You beat me to it. Because like you have to have not even have to have 3 set orders. That would make it fine, but they have to be different ones. Which, like, yeah, Eva can like do that, but you don't really want to. Like at a certain point in the game, you want to get rid of the grade 1s to like get your resources back.
Yeah, like the only 2 decks that can run this, like when it comes out, is Orpheus and Eva, and you don't want to in either of them.
Yeah, it's just kind of unfortunate. This next card's actually pretty cool though. It's Fist Cannon Dragon, Dematoria Dragon. Cool name and some pretty cool art. When he's placed on a rearguard circle, cost discard a card from your hand. Look at cards from the top of your deck equal to the number of research cards with different card names in your order zone. Choose a card from among them, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. So this is like Eva's skill on a rearguard circle.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Like, I like this guy because his art. He's also a mini Eva. The only problem is that you really wouldn't want to run it in the deck just because the deck already has so many important pieces that need to be run.
Yeah.
But if you didn't have like a certain card, like a combine or something, maybe you could run this in its place.
If this card came out in like set 5, it would have been really cool. Would have been really good. I think I would have seen play.
Yeah.
Or no, it wouldn't have. Never mind, because it has to be different card names. So it'll literally just be discard to add the top card of your deck to your hand.
So you could have put the refurbishment dock in there, or a world card.
I definitely would see it more as a piece for Dravidia than anyone else, because they can play it during their main phase before they pop their grade 2 and grade 1 meteors. So it's just a top 2 check, I guess.
Well, it has to do research cards.
Dravidia World. Oh, it's a research specific?
Yeah, it's it can be used something like Arkhite, but Arkhite only plays 2 research cards, so...
Yeah, Arkhite is going to suffer from the same problem that Ava did, even though it has 2 orders. It doesn't have a whole lot of search, at least that I remember off the top of my head. So that's why we're going over it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, fair enough. It's at least more interesting than 3 or more set orders get 10k power. Next one we have is a very unfortunate butchering of Link Joker art. This is Hadron Axe Dragon, which is a grade 3, and it says when a research card is put into your order zone, cost retire this unit and countercharge 1. There we go with Brandt Gate, always getting a countercharger in every set.
Yeah, we get one every set, and this card is like only good if this is your first set getting Brandt and you have no other counterchargers that have come out before.
Yeah, if you don't have the grade 1 research. It's very I mean, at least it's not like terrible, but at the same time you're losing a resource just to get a resource back. It's alright. It's not something I would call special. If you can afford it, you just play Bubble Mine.
Yeah, I mean, especially, you're right, if you can afford it now.
Bubble Mine is best mine.
Oh, he is. Best card. So it's kind of just okay. Again, Brandt Gate's like commons and rares in this set are pretty mid besides a couple. And so we're almost done with the generic cards. We have a rare next, which is called Straw Wind Hose. I don't see the wind or the hose. But when this unit attacks, this unit gets plus 5k power until the end of that battle for every 2 research cards in your order zone. This one seems more like a budget Combine Rusher.
Yeah, the only thing that's cool about...
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, the only thing that's cool about this guy, and I meant to bring it up earlier, is that him and High Flight Conversion, you can see each other in their artworks. You see their alternate like plane mode. They're basically Transformers. That's like the only cool thing about this card.
This card's better than I thought it was. Anyway, Frank, what were you gonna say?
I think that card's early game potential is really good. Like, even if you do have Combine Rusher, there's sometimes where you don't have that third attack on your grade 2 turn that you would like to have. So I could see some lists probably checking it in.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You're going to guaranteed have at least 2 orders on turn 2 as Ava.
Plus, it does scale. So if you don't use your grade 1 skills and you have like at a late game, which you won't normally have, but if you have like 6, then this is going to get 15k power. I could agree with Frank on that. That's actually better than I thought it was.
Yeah, I forgot that it's for every 2. So yeah, this card does scale. And in early game, yeah, you're right, Frank.
Yeah,
even Arkhite, like, it's not a monster. But if you really wanted like a beater, it wouldn't be the worst thing because he'd be 15k right away.
Wouldn't be the worst. Yeah, I think it's actually pretty okay. Then we have a card that's interesting. It's another rare. It says the one who pursues the proto galaxy. She says when she's placed on rearguard circle, if your order zone is 2 or more set orders, you may soul charge 1. So it's a soul charge gainer. Not something the deck's really needed, I don't think. I think Brandt, out of all the nations, is a deck that has like too much soul. Like, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
I mean, I can see the use in this because, I mean, while there are ways to like get soul with Bubble Mine and then some of the other cards, it's just a lot of like the good Brandt decks, like the best ones use soul, or just not even just like the best ones. Pretty much every Brandt deck uses soul. Like Orphis, eventually you run out of soul, but that's just if you're going like crazy with your orders. Eva too, if you don't have a third order or like another one of the grade 1 to use. Like if that's your only grade 1, you don't really want to put it into soul unless you have to.
I know right now when it comes to Ava, everybody has like that 1 or 2 tech slot So I could see it now being a good like generic support card, because sometimes Ava just runs out of souls. But at the same time, Ava has the problem of decking itself out anyways. So why put a card that's not like Golden Mine, that's going to give you not only your soul but your counter charge?
Yeah, it just again, it seems like a budget option if you don't have access to Bubble Mine. Not terrible cards. It's just I guess I didn't really think about these two cards. I just, when I saw them at first, I was like, oh, these are just boring. And they kind of are, but they have some niche like uses. I can see why they're rares. But now we have the last generic card, and it's actually probably the best card out of all these, or it's definitely the best card out of all these. It's a double rare that says Abent Robust. It's a grade 3. It says when it's placed in a Vanguard circle, counterblast 1, search your deck for up to one set order and reveal it. And if your order zone is a card with the same card name as that card, put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. Then it has the other ability, Auto Rearguard Circle. When this unit attacks, choose 2 set orders with the same card name from your order zone. And if you choose 2 cards, this unit gets plus 10k until the end of that battle. Basically a Combine Rusher that searches more orders. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I really like this card. Personally, I've done some testing with it already. And I basically ran it as if I didn't have Combine. And I ran him in Eva, and he was working pretty well. Frank mentioned earlier, like, we can deck out, so it's a little scary thinning more than you do already, but still it's pretty good being able to get more of the world as a blue research lab, or if you need more of your grade 1s, grabbing those. And then the 10k is nice, because you don't have to wait for your opponent to be on grade 3, so if you go first, you have this guy, he's automatically a 23k beater.
Yeah, that's pretty
nice.
Good. Frank, what do you think?
I also like the fact that he searches, so you can get another, activate Ava skill, check top 3, add 1. Oh, there's a bunch of cards at the bottom of my deck that I don't want there. You get another search before you swing with Ava, and you get to take another card out of your deck to make it even more consistent for Ava to hit triggers. So I agree with Lupe. Going first, this card seems kind of insane, because you get to guarantee to have your 4th order, which a lot of people just play for 3. But that 4th order comes in handy a lot when it comes to the Ava in general. And I don't think people realize that sometimes you just get stuck at 3 and you can't do much past that.
Yeah, I mean, also it's pretty good in other decks. We won't talk about it that much since it doesn't really apply to this. But Heroes, this is amazing. Velstra, I would say this is really, really good. But we have the new support in set 9, so it's not really going to see play in Velstra up until this point. But Heroes, this is a good card right here. Searches your bases.
Yeah. Until set 9, when they also get their... I think I can search for the base too, right, or no?
No, he can't search for the base, but you don't really need him to search for the base, since he'll be your main source of counterblast.
Yeah, this card's really good for that. You could also run it in Orphist if you really wanted to, because there are times where you do get stuck where you only have like 2 or 3, similar to like Eva, and you desperately need more worlds.
Yeah.
I could see it in there. The only problem is that to CB cost, you need to CB at least once every turn.
Yeah, CB is rough. But I mean, it's CB for a searching of an order, so like I think it needed to be a CB at this point. It's a great card. It's an S tier. Also, it's a robot. Very cool. Then we're gonna talk about the Eva cards. There's 3 of them, and 2 of them are amazing. One of them's okay. The okay one is Cerulean Heavy Gunner. When this card is discarded from your hand during your turn, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with glitter, cost Soul Blast 1, you may call this card to back row rearguard circle. If you call, this unit cannot attack until end of turn. It's alright. It's basically just discard fodder for Eva.
Yeah, so Frank brought it up earlier to where like every Eva deck basically has at max 2 tech slots. I could see this card being in some people's tech slots just to have a free body on board. But other than that, like, yeah, it's alright card.
My problem with this card is that like it's a discarder, right? but your Vanguard has to be grade 3 or greater. And unlike something like Youthberg that can discard super consistently, Eva can't, because most people are going to take out the grade 2 order or play it at less copies for the new order. So you're going to be discarding less and less. So this card becomes way worse the more you see it.
Yeah, I was about to agree with Jack. I think literally the only card in Ava that discards a card is the grade 2 order. So you're going to be doing that on usually turn 4 if you're going first. If not, some people I've seen, especially when we just went to Anaheim, they were just playing the green 2 order to play it. They weren't even binding anything and trying. They were just draw ditching. And there's sometimes where your hand is just that bad you have to do it.
Yeah. It's okay. It's not terrible, but it could be it's Eva doesn't really need it. Next up,
I don't think it's worth the soul.
Yeah, it's not. I would rather
That's
soul.
the worst part about the card.
I would rather Soul Blast 1. If I'm using the grade 2, I'd rather Soul Blast 1 to bind something rather than Soul Blast 1 to call something to back row. Next up is a really good card. This is what you put your Soul Blast into. This is absolutely busted. This is The World's the Blue Research Lab. It's a grade 3 set order that says play this card if you have a glitter with Eva in its card name. Not cost, there is no cost. When this card's put into the order zone, look at top 5 cards of your deck, choose one card from among them, call it to Rearguard Circle and shuffle your deck, and then act from order zone, cost Soul Blast 1, rest 3 research cards in your order zone, choose one of your glitter units, and it gets plus 5k power until end of turn. Bro, absolutely insane card.
Yeah, this card automatically is basically another Eva skill, and then you can proc your Obsidian skill right away by placing them. And that 5k actually comes in handy a lot more than I think people thought at first. Just being able to give Eva more power, or even your Obsidians if you need to, make it more awkward for your opponent to guard, asking for another card from him.
Frank,
I did a lot of playtesting with Xavier, who's also part of Team Empire, and we found out that using the generic crit as a booster for that extra 5k with Ava is actually really important, and people don't realize how dumb it is for Ava to swing for 23k without any triggers.
Yep, it's like how Youthberg can swing for 23 with Sequana's boost, and how important that is. That extra power can really make the difference between winning or losing. And also just the fact that it's free. And if you're playing the grade 3 that we just talked about, the one that searches a set order, if you play this and just so happen to see it, you can call it and then use its skill to search another copy of this for the next turn, for the follow-up turn.
Yeah.
But
those two cards work really well together.
The main?
Yeah, I think the grade 3 order is so good.
It's so good, dude. Yeah, I can't believe it's...
You almost want to fully change out the grade 2 orders for it, but then you don't want to hurt your consistency.
Yeah, you play 9 or... You play 9 or 10?
I think at most you want to run 10 sets. I think at 10 sets it's already kind of bricky at that point. Mm-hmm. You got to think about it. It's 10 and 46 cards that are quote unquote bricks.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true.
So I think at least personally for me, my 2 or 1 tech slot is just going to be another grade 3 order, at least for the first bit.
Yeah.
So I'll probably run 4 grade 1s, 2 grade 2s, and 3 grade 3s. Just so you have those 2 extra targets, and then just play around with it from there.
Yeah, that's true.
I think being able to call a card from the top of your deck is really insane when you think about it.
Especially for free.
The other thing is, Obsidian, when it gets called from a skill, gets its crit. So you can play more crit Obsidians just from the top of your deck, just because.
Or the great segue, Frank. You can use this card to call the new card, the final card for Eva in this set, and that is Great Sword of Ferocious Black Flame Obsidian. It's a grade 2 that says Rearguard Circle or Guardian Circle. If your order zone is 3 or more set orders, it gets plus 5k power and plus 5k shield, and it's active on the opponent's turn. and then has a glitter skill with Eva. Continuous rearguard circle. If this unit was placed on rearguard circle by your card's ability this turn, and your order zone has 3 or more research cards, when this unit would attack, it battles all your opponent's front row units. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's basically just for 1,000,000. I think this is one of the main ones you call first. It depends on the matchup, so you can swing with this one first, wipe out a front row, and then just use Eva's skill to call the grade 3 on top.
Yeah, I really like
We love Leonard without the counter, or without the soul charge.
Yeah, dude.
Exactly, because the team knows this. My pro strat is always like attacking the rear guards if they're pesky or just even to damage deny my opponent.
Yeah, it's fucking
So
annoying.
this doesn't really come into damage denial, but it allows me to attack everything they have in the front row, which I really like.
Gives it.
And this card is it's perfect for calling off of the World is a Blue Research Lab. That way you don't have to waste one of the crit obscadides. You can just call this one and then keep the crit obscadides in your deck to call mid-battle.
Yep.
I think the combo with it's going to be playing the order, playing the grade 2 obscadade, wiping out their front board, swinging Ava, calling out an obscadade, and just proceeding to fuck your opponent.
Dude.
You have all the flushing engines going.
And even if they don't call like a front row, then okay, change of plans. I'll just use the blue one, and if I find the grade 3, I'll just call the grade 3. You know, like, and then just go from my plan from there. It's very flexible. I think a lot of people, when they saw the new Obscadide, they were like, oh, he's kind of but he does something the deck doesn't really do. It did a little bit with like binding, but it has a lot of board control now.
And that brings me back to my point about cutting the grade 2 order. Like, sure, binding and the Ava mirror match is really important, and there's like specific cards that are good to bind. But when you're just retiring their board and they have to keep playing all of those cards from hand to try to get back to where they're at, I feel like this Obscadade does what the grade 2 order does, but better, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, and also it's free.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
It's just, what was it? What was I gonna say? I forgot. Also, yeah, it's basically better retire, because then, like, if they're attacking, so they can't be guarded, or sorry, they can't intercept. So it's actually a really good.
Yeah, that's really also what I was thinking. I was like, you just swing the grade 2 at their Vanguard. They can't even intercept with those cards.
Mm-hmm.
They're just locked there.
Yeah, and dude, I literally forgot what I was gonna say. It was perfect.
I think I heard what you were starting to say. I think you were gonna say it doesn't have the Soul Blast cost, like it's free essentially.
Yeah, I think that's what I was gonna. It's free, and also it's just another Obscadide. Like, that's the most important part. It's just another target. Like, one of the main problems for Eva mirror matches is if you're playing another one, it's basically it turns into a game of whoever binds more Obscadides wins. But now, since you have like 7 to 8 targets as opposed to just 4, it's a lot easier to have a long game with this deck. Already, like a better long game than it already has.
Yeah, I personally think that if anybody wants to do it, I'm not saying it's the best strat, but doing where you just keep the Ava deck as it is right now, swapping the 4 orders for the new Obscadade, and taking out 2 other cards and putting in the 2 grade 3 orders, honestly, the deck would still probably be really good. Without the grade 2 order in general.
Yeah, I think.
I do think, like, there are those problem cards, especially with Miracle being one of the best decks right now, with Letitia and that grade 1 that just lets them keep looking at the top part of their deck and putting it to the bottom, and they just keep filtering to hit more and more triggers. That's one of the most important cards to be able to find in the current meta.
Yep, I definitely agree with that. Now that we're done with the Eva cards, we can talk about the Arkhite support, which will be pretty fast. It's a new ride line. It's not like it's going to be like as extensive as Eva. So we're going to go through these really quickly. There's the grade 0 Arkhite, which is the same as every other starter, but you need this starter because the grade 1 says when it's placed from riding on the grade 0, you search your deck for a research card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. And then the grade 2 has literally the exact same skill. So we can go through these really quickly, and all these have the same skill as like the Eva ride line.
Yeah, they're literally the same, which makes sense lore-wise too, because they worked at the same facility and they're supposed to be like friends essentially. So
Yeah.
it makes sense why they have the same skills.
And plus, you want to play like the Arkhite ride line as opposed to Eva, because then you can use the triple rare support they have early, since it just cares you have an Arkhite Vanguard. That's like the only reason why you'd want to do that. Other than that, it's literally just up to aesthetic.
Yeah, it really is.
But that's just the ride line. We can go to the research card that they have. It's called Torrential Energy Research. Auto, when this unit is put into the order zone, God, you can see how I'm blanking here. I'm like, I'm slurring my words. When this card is put into the order zone, reveal up to top 5 cards of your deck. Choose up to 2 cards with monster and their card names from among them. Put 1 card from among them into your hand. Put 1 card from among them into the drop, and shuffle your deck. And an act from order zone, cost Restless card. Choose up to 1 card with monster and its card name from your drop, and put it into your order zone. So this just helps fuel Arkhite's main thing. And the search is very similar to the new Eva card. Just lots of plussing and like fueling your game plan.
Yeah, I really like this research card. In Arkhite, it's really good because you want to run the vanilla PGs, the ones that came in the snow trial deck, because he himself is a monster. And so going off of this card, you can straight up search for a PG on your turn 1, and then you put the other card in drop. You can also add Persona Ride, because the grade 3 just has monster in its name, so you can add it. And it works really well with itself because you can immediately rest it, put that card in there. It also works well with the card we're going to talk about next, by allowing him to have targets to hit for.
Yep.
And personally, I'm going to tech this in a premium deck because I run Zeal in premium.
Disgusting.
And in Zeal, you run some of the kaijus or the monsters that they have, so I think it'd be pretty good in there for also just binning for more triggers.
Yeah. Frank, do you have anything to say, or have you not done enough research about Arkhite?
With the monsters, I have not. I do think their art's really cool, so I don't have like a strong opinion about it. But at the same time, they are part of Brandt Gate, so clearly they're going to be a good deck, even if they're bad.
Yeah, dude.
Generically speaking, I think Brandt Gate, even with the quote-unquote worst deck that's Brandt Gate, which currently it would be Orphis, you can just win the game so frequently just because you have that overtrigger.
That is true, yeah.
I've had so many games just stolen from me from an Orphis player that went first, and they're like, okay, grade 2, I have a Shadow Army token, I have a beater, I have Fumble, Swing, Vanguard, check Overtrigger, give it to the card that's not going to double its power again, and then just kill you on that turn.
I think I know that Orphis player. Anyways, let's move on to... So should we do the grade 3 first, or should we do the support cards first? That way we can know like the game plan of the deck.
Yeah, let's just talk about Arkhite herself.
Okay, so we have the main grade 3, which is Monster Creator. She says, when a rear guard with monster and its card name is placed, put a card with the same card name as that card from your order zone on the bottom of your deck, and that unit gets plus 10k until end of turn. And then auto Vanguard Circle, when this unit attacks, if your order zone is a research card, cost Counterblast 1 and activate all the effects below. If your order zone is 3 or more research cards, choose up to one of your rear guards with monster in its card name and put it into the order zone. Then you look at top 7 cards of your deck and choose one unit card with monster in its card name from among them, call it to rear guard circle, and shuffle your deck. So this tells you the main gimmick of Arkhite is stuffing as many monsters as you can in the order zone and use her skill when they're placed to give them lots of power, and then use her skill to multi-attack with them.
Yeah, personally, I'm really excited for this deck. Part of it is my Brandt bias, but I am a huge fan of Tokusatsu culture, and this is literally that. It's just big kaijus. And this set offers 3 kaijus, which we'll get into next. So you already have 3 targets, but Brandt already had some monsters. I'm going to just interchange them because I like to call them kaijus. That's what they're called in Japan, but for us, they're called monsters. So we already have quite a bit of monsters to use in the pool already. Like the
Bulbul
one that's
Mine.
used in Eva a lot can be used in there. It's Scoundrel. He puts a card from your discard on the bottom of the deck. He can be used in there. The PG that I brought up earlier, you can run Bulbul Mine, and just there's plenty of other kaijus to choose from. So it's pretty versatile in what you can run.
And free Chubbs. Chubbs is going to be the better counter target.
Shut the fuck no! Don't listen to him. Don't use Chubbs. There's
Chubbs, you could use him in there, but Bulbul Mine's already a kaiju, so I don't know why you wouldn't run.
I mean, Chubbs is also a monster.
Yeah, but Bulbul Mine's the better monster.
He's Godzilla.
Yeah, but Chubbs is cuter.
He is very cute, but I'm still a fan of my Bulbul Mine. He's pretty kawaii. One other thing that I like about this card is that it's not once per turn on that first effect. So if you just like save up your hand on turn 3 and like just dump your entire hand, as long as you have monsters with the same card name, you can just give all of them 10k power. You can just drop all that.
Essentially getting Chaos's power gain like right away.
Yeah, and it doesn't care about your opponent's grade either, which is pretty nice. It can brick. It has like the same problems as Eva, where if you don't see that third research, the deck is way worse. But
oh yeah, 100%. I've experienced that firsthand in our testing, and it is very rough if you don't get that third one.
that's why you gotta play the robot in there.
Yeah, I mean,
out
like I
those
said,
cards.
the robot could be played in here. It wouldn't be the worst thing.
It would not be the worst thing. Now let's go over some of the support cards, the 3 final monsters, which are the 3 final cards. I know this video is running for a long time. There's a lot to talk about with this set. We have Tornado Monster Cyclogard. When this is placed in Rearguard Circle, choose a card with monster and its card name from your drop. You may put that card into your order zone. Cost and continuous Guardian Circle. If your order zone has 2 or more research cards, this unit gets plus 5k shield. Just a resource getter. It's basically a revive, kinda.
Yeah, this is the card that I mentioned earlier when I thought we were gonna segment into him, but it made more sense to go to Arkhite first. Because if you've already pitched a monster for your write-up turn, or just your turn 2, and then you place a research card, you'll have 2 targets in there, so you can use the research to put a monster in your order zone, and then you can use this guy to put another monster in your order zone. So it works really well with each other. And another reason I like him is that I believe that, in my personal opinion, but any deck that has space to run a card in Overdressed, you can get at least plus 5k shield without hurting the deck and attributes to the playstyle, I think should be ran.
There's a reason why
I
Eva is
really
one
like
of the
that he
best
gets
decks.
plus 5k shield.
There's a reason why Eva is one of the better decks. Because now it has 2
Yeah.
targets that are 10k interceptors. Yeah, I mean it's good. It's not nothing I would call
Now we
spec.
have more 10k interceptors. Obsidian's a 10k interceptor.
I know that's what they have 2 targets now. They can't be retired either. I mean, and hell, you could play this card in Eva, but you're not going to. Then we have her double rare, which is Volcano Monster Golkadera. When this is placed on a rearguard circle, costs Caralos 1. Choose one of your opponent's rearguards with a grade equal to or less than the number of research cards in your order zone and retire it. And then continuous or auto guardian or auto rearguard circle. When this unit attacks, if your order zone has 3 or more research cards, this unit gets plus 5k power until end of that battle. It's Godzilla.
Yeah, this card, he's literally Godzilla. I'm pretty sure we'll have the art thrown up so you can see him.
Yeah.
But he is the deck's main beater, and besides just looking full as hell, he's the deck's main beater, being able to get an 18k by himself without using any of the other skills of like powering up with other kaijus. And he's the deck's only form of removal, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, well, besides the grade 2 research, which actually works way better in Arkhite right now than it does in Eva.
Yeah, but I mean, like, this is like her like dedicated
Yeah, her dedicated removal.
removal piece.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. A lot of people were saying, like, oh, this is just a worse Obscadede. And I was like, I mean, it is. But Obscadede is a double rare. Obscadede's a triple rare. So, a little bit of rarity bias there.
Yeah, he can only do so much for being a double rare.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. He's nice. He's a good boy. And then the final card we have, and this is, I made this be the final card because it works for both the decks. And this is Radio Wave Monster Webiros. when this is placed on Vanguard Circle, if you have a Glitter with Eva in its card name, or a Vanguard with Arkhite in its card name, cost Soul Blast 2 and draw a card, and then continues for Vanguard Circle during your turn. If your Aura Zone has 3 or more research cards, it gets plus 5k power. Obviously, it's good for Arkhite because it's a monster, but I want to know what from the 2 Brandt Gate players, is this a good like tech slot in Eva?
I was about to get into that. Yeah, I think I've seen some lists in Japan already run him as like a one of, because again, as Frank mentioned earlier, pretty much every EVA deck has like at least 2 or at max 2 tech slots. So this could be ran in there, but from what I've seen, they mostly run it for just to be a 13k booster, which isn't a bad idea, but in my opinion, at that point, the original name for the card used to be Stepchild of the Variable Star. I don't remember what it's called now, but late game it scales higher. So I think it's better in my opinion. But if I can see why you'd run this one also.
The only thing
you need to draw a card.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Because if you need to draw the card, you can, and plus this guy keeps his power pretty much forever. To whereas with Variable Child, if you don't get more than 3, she won't be bigger than this guy.
Well, I was also going to say that because the grade 1 does get rid of itself, and at a certain point you do want to use that a lot more in the late game. So Variable Child will always kind of stay at the same number, while this guy will constantly be 13k, and plus you can boost him with the new Obscadede to make like a 28k column, attacking the front row, which is pretty big. I'm a big fan of 13k boosters. Don't have to work for it, you know. What do you?
It's pretty good.
What do you think, Frank? What's your final opinions here, if you have any? Okay, good to know. We will. Yeah, I think this was pretty cool. Soul Blast 2 for a draw is a lot, and I've even play tested Arkhite to where like sometimes you don't have that 2 Soul Blast. Like you can definitely use it once, but then once you use it once, you'll have to keep Persona riding in order to keep getting it back. You know?
Yeah, no matter what deck you run this in, because even with Persona riding and using Bulba Mines, the soul cost is just pretty expensive in both. So it's a one-time use, pretty much, unless you get pretty lucky and you keep hitting your Bulba Mines and Persona riding. But I mean, a one-time draw can be very useful and can swing the game, honestly. So
yeah,
pretty good draw.
Yeah, and it's also really cool that they have cross synergy between 2 ride lines. Hope we get more of that.
He's also a Pokemon, so
he's a Pokemon.
And all I'm saying is I pay 3 soul to draw 1 sometimes, so any card draw is better.
That is true. I've seen people use that Gremlin to Soul Blast 3 draw a card. Well, yeah, and that's that. Thank you guys for watching. That's pretty much it for Brandt Gate. Next week is going to be Dark States. I'm going to be covering that once again with Lupe. Maybe Frank if he wants to join in again. Just to talk about some cards. I think set 8 was pretty successful from what I've heard in Japan. Just like being strong. So I'm glad that it actually makes an impact, unlike set 5, which was like not even a dent in the metagame at that point.
Yeah, it really was.
I think set 5 just gave us some stuff, and then everybody else was like, but the stuff we already had is better.
Yeah.
And that was what set 5 was.
And now the glitter ride lines are actually like good. So like
yeah, can you imagine if set 5 would have had the Dragonic Empire promo that we just barely got?
Oh, Halb? Dude,
Oh.
fuck.
Oh my lord. His card gets called out and is a booster.
Yeah,
Win.
fucking tier 0 format right there, man. Anyways, thanks guys. Thank you, Lupe. Thank you, Frank, for joining me today. So I'm not just sitting here by myself. All right. Thank you guys. We don't really have an outro. Just bye.